welcome to RCA Radio, a podcast where we cover the latest news and challenges in regulatory, compliance, and quality assurance facing the life science industries. I'm your host, Brandon Miller. In this episode of RCA Radio, we'll be looking at the combination product industry, and we'll talk about some of the challenges that the industry faces. Today, I'm joined by Jessica Schafersman, a design and development expert here at RCA. Today, I want to cover what makes combination products stand out, the process device manufacturers and pharma manufacturers need to go through to combine their product types, some of the most common challenges these companies face, and finally, how companies that have a combination product or are looking to get in the space can prepare themselves to address some of those challenges. So to start off, although it may seem self-explanatory, what is a combination product and what are some good examples of the most common ones?
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Brandon. I mean, combination products are exactly what they sound like. They are a combination of a drug and device, or a device and biologic, or a drug and biologic. And they can come in a variety of forms, right? You can have just your drug and or biologic being delivered through a device. Examples of these are prefilled syringes. These are all over the market right now. Those are considered combination products. Drug-eluting stents are also a device that is coated with a drug or biologic, so that is also considered combo product. You could package kits. Sometimes they're like convenience kits that include both a drug and a device. Sometimes you'll have a vial kit that comes with a filter and a syringe with a needle or things like that. Those would be considered combination products. They could also be just cross-labeled combo products. They're packaged separately, but you can only use them with each other. So you specifically call out that you have to use this with this. Those are also considered combination products. And then there's an investigational category as well that's basically the same as any of the above, but just for investigational purposes.
So now that we got those basics covered, what's the big deal with these combo products and why are they so special in the life science industry?
I mean, well, that's the $10,000 question here, because the FDA recently, in memory, changed the rules. Back in 2013, they finally issued a rule about combination products and what their expectations were around them. And this was effective in July of 2013, but they gave everybody a little while to start enforcing them. And then in 2014, it really hit the market hard, and they started requiring remediation efforts for combination products that were already on the market, and they started issuing warning letters and stuff like that. So it is a fairly recent development within drug and device development, because up till then, they were just considered packaging, essentially. You were delivering your drug and or biologic product in its package. Just because its package was also a medical device that delivered said drug, it didn't alter the submission process at all until this new guidance came out. So in order to merge these two worlds, the drug or biologic and the device world, so when the guidance came out, the first thing it outlined was how to determine which group within the FDA is going to review it. And that is the main crux of this situation, right? Because they have different groups that do the reviews for biologics. CBER reviews biologics, CDER evaluates the drugs, and then CDRH is where you submit your devices. But since you have a combination of two of these items, who was going to be the responsible party? So the final rule for the good manufacturing practices gives an outline for companies to be able to merge their existing quality management systems and processes with the other portions, quality management systems and processes. Largely, this is drug companies that are seeking to deliver their drug or biologic inside a device. So it's a lot of drug companies that need to incorporate device, quality management system, good manufacturing processes, and design controls into their processes and procedures that they're already using.
So with this good manufacturing practice regulation, what do companies need to do if they have or want to develop a combination product?
Well, If you're a drug or biologic company, you already likely have a quality management system that's compliant to either 210 to 11 or the 600 through 680 CFRs. What this guidance allows is for the QSR 820, which is for devices, to be feathered in with your existing processes. And there's a section in it, 4.4, 21 CFR 4.4, that does allow for a streamlined approach, which is what most companies that I've worked with, at least, have used. And it allows you to take your existing good manufacturing process quality management system for 210 to 11 or 600 through 680, and you just have to add in a handful of other expectations, including management responsibility, design controls, purchasing controls, CAPA, or corrective and preventative action, installation and servicing. And installation and servicing rarely applies to combo products unless they're rather complex. But if you can feather in these processes into your existing QMS, then develop all the records associated with it, then you can continue operating with everything you were already doing plus this.
So what does that look like internally for a company's processes?
Well, it means you have to tweak a few of your SOPs usually. The biggest obstacle is usually design controls, because the device constituent part of your combination product is a large requirement for most drug companies. It's not how you document drug or biologic development. It is a very different process. So this is usually the trickiest portion, because for design controls, you have to have design plans, user needs, design inputs, design outputs, verification, validation, and transfer to manufacturing. And that tends to be a lot for a drug company to really wrap their arms around right away. So it usually takes a little research, creation of new SOPs, and then the creation of the design file for the device constituent part of your combo product. And honestly, the FDA is still tweaking the regulations and guidances a little bit. They just released draft guidance about essential drug delivery outputs, and therefore a drug or biologic delivery system like a combo product, and how to provide all the right testing and evidence within a submission for them. It ensures that the combination product developer doesn't have to do a bunch of the lower level testing of components and things like that at all time points for design verification. And it really focuses on system level outputs, for which the device drug delivery function is dependent on the device design. So every year, a little bit more information comes out, and you can tweak your procedures and processes a little bit more. But that would be the main activity, would be to update the SOPs that we talked about, CAPA, purchasing controls, design controls, and management responsibilities, to ensure you're covering all of the 820 requirements for the device within your existing QMS, and then creation of the design files.
Considering all these processes that companies need to address, what's the biggest challenge you see these companies running into, and how would you recommend getting in front of those challenges?
Well, some of the biggest challenges I have seen just based on clients coming to us is even understanding that they have a combination product in the first place. Sometimes they've been packaging things together for so long they didn't even realize it was a combination product. And the FDA does have a whole process for this, where you can submit a request for designation if you think you might have a combination product. And I would highly recommend, if your regulatory department doesn't know about this, that you bring in an expert to submit a request for designation and confirm what the FDA's expectations are for the product that you are currently planning or have in development. The other big thing, like I said, design controls is usually the biggest pull for a company who is just getting into combination products. And one thing that almost always throws them off is design validation, because it's different than process validation. which is what most drug and biologic companies are used to, is process validation. Design validation for a medical device is very different, and it usually involves human factors testing. So my very first project with RCA when I came on board was actually a large remediation project for a huge drug company that got a warning letter from the FDA in early 2014, right after the new regulations went into effect. And we remediated 6 different design files for devices they had in prefilled syringes. But other companies have come to us just for the human factors aspect. They know they need design validation testing, and so they come to us to help with that. There have been a few other companies who come to us when they need help feathering in those new processes with their SOPs. They know they have to do it, but they're not quite sure how to make it fit together best with their already existing drug quality systems. But also, international companies and US companies that wish to get a CE mark now have to get even notified body opinion, which is how the EU is handling combination products. And it seeks to get the notified body to document that the primary mode of action is the drug or biologic, and that the device has been adequately controlled through design controls. So you do like a pre-submission with your notified body to get that opinion before you submit your product. But again, if you don't have experience in the field, I do highly recommend finding someone who does. Identify your gaps, develop a plan, and converse with the FDA and make sure they're in alignment with your plan, so that when you do go to submit your combo product, you're much more assured of success.
That's some great advice. And I want to thank you, Jessica, for taking the time to talk about these combination products and some of those challenges that they face and a couple of those big key parts that they need to look out for. And I also want to thank our listeners for tuning into this episode of RCA Radio. Be sure to subscribe to be the first to know when we upload the next episode of RCA Radio. Thanks again and have a great day.